what's going on? RedMaster here, and welcome back to another Cards and Castles video. Today we are going to be looking into a 3,000 star deck that was able to bring me from 2,800 to 3,000 at the last possible moments of the season. So I consider it a 3K deck because it certainly does have some strong potential to pretty much infect the ladder. If you've played me recently over the past 2 days, you have seen me use this deck. I, again, have grown fond of it, and again, might have some trouble in the ladder in the future. But however, I cannot take all the credit for this deck. Inspiration and majority of this deck actually came from Numb the Fear. So shout out to him. He does run a different deck than mine. He has some modifications that I do not. Both are extremely solid decks though, so with that being said, I'm just going to take you right into the deck. I don't have a really clever name for it yet. I've kind of just been sitting at, a standard sort of name and castle. Maybe I'll do some flair later on today, but yeah, here's the deck. Definitely a crazy amount of heals in here, especially with the Zealous Knight upgraded to heal castles. So let's just jump right into it. The first card I have here is the Baby Dino. Baby Dino I have in here is very important. I don't know if that sounded right. But anyway, like I said, very important because of his initiative ability. He's going to be the one that's causing a little bit of unnecessary trouble for your opponent with your dinosaurs in combination with Magma Storm, Dino Nest. If I could pull that card up like that. Yep, there it is. And Tyrannosaur, possibly even Dino Evolution. So all these Dino cards kind of sync well together, and I think if you're running Dino, you definitely want all of these cards. Maybe not Tyrannosaur if you're not too fond of him as, your 6-drop. Especially if you have the Dino Evolution, because you'll already be gating Tyrannosaurs. But yeah, definitely his buff can be trouble, and that's why I run 3 of him. And if you don't have anything, to throw out early on, he can be a 1-drop, but again, that's a very, that means you have nothing else in your hand. It's sort of like a wasting of his buff. So I wouldn't recommend throwing him out immediately, but, that's a possibility. Next we have Crumbling Archive, simply here for the draw aspect. I only run 2 in here because usually I'm pretty fine with hand size running this deck. Nothing that can, I don't run out of things too fast, so I don't need the extra draw power. However, if I want to have it early game, it doesn't hurt to throw in 2 of them, and that always can be swapped out with something else. I run 2 Disintegrate as well, just for the, high damage that it produces. I mean, I love running Disintegrate in all my decks. I know some people don't, and that's completely fine, but Disintegrate, it can be handy for any Sunflowers, or just in general, getting rid of a Mage Apprentice, a Mischievous Imp, something small that can be a bother early on. And again, that high damage can definitely be coming in handy later in the game for maybe to weaken something bigger, whereas other damage spells may have lower damage at low costs or higher damage at higher costs. This sits somewhere in the middle of that, and I think it's very nice. Moving on, I have 2 Missionaries for the healing aspect. Now, there's going to be a lot more heals in this deck, and it's certainly because heal is an amazing force right now to reckon with. This low system of HP means that every heal is valuable, and the ones that I have in here definitely show their strengths coming from either early game or late game. Missionary is a great, healing card in general. Not like some of the other ones I have in here, but I definitely consider it a strong card nonetheless. For 2 gold too, so it's really like you're getting a heal and a body, so not that bad. Next we move on to Dwarf Paladin. Definitely a strong Crusader card. I think probably the most popular out of all the dwarfs right now is probably Dwarf Paladin, for good reason too. Again, that healing aspect, you do not want to miss that at a early cost, and a good body to go with it as well. Maybe slow, but that's alright. Sometimes you might even hold Dwarf Paladin until your opponent's right up on you, so you can use that heal. Or an early body too is very threatening, especially for 3/6. So, but again, healing aspect is top notch. So, I would definitely. That's why I run 3 of him. Next, I have Bulwark. Bulwark is a great card to buff up castle health. Of course, Bulwark is a card that gives additional health, not healing. So if you have 12, this will buff it to 14. Again, giving out extra castle health is troublesome, especially if you go into the green side, like the green, the green numbers with it. So definitely strong, and it can help power up any of my other guys here, especially since they're slow. They'll sit on the castle the next turn, and before they leave, give them a Bulwark, and now they have some extra health as well. So yeah, definitely a great card, and despite that I have Mithril and Construction as options with Dwarf Paladin here, I just think Bulwark is an overall better option than either of those two. Next we have Magma Storm. Magma Storm is definitely, if you're running dinosaurs, you need Magma Storm. Let me just put it at that, because not only do you have a great you have a great body with a great ability and a awesome range at a low cost, but he has so much potential to become a major problem in this deck. Like I said before, the baby dinos and even the Dino Nests basically make this card from a 1-3, possibly into a 2-4 with one baby dino, the Dino Nest transformed into a 4-6. So definitely something that can be strong, and even with that explosive 2, it forces your opponent to take some awkward positioning, maybe moving them away from the castle or away in clumps, meaning that you could pick them off easier, as I will show you in the match that I have on TV. I just think Magma Storm is a amazing card, especially if you're running with dinos. If you're running dinos, run Magma Storm. If you don't have 3 copies and you want to run Dinosaur, I would definitely get Magma Storm. From there, I move on to Headwood. Headwood, with the recent change, has been a great addition to the deck. His damage dealing of 2 to a wide area of 11 by 5 is great for that cost, and that kind of body is it's pretty good. Now, I don't run Saurus in here personally, and I don't really think I need to, with all the heals and the other sort of stuff I have in here. But if you want to take this deck into a more Awakening run, then I would say you maybe even throw in a couple of Sauruses in this deck, because Headwood he can cause a bother for opponents. You don't know if that 2 damage is going to, hurt your opponent as much as you think, if that makes any sense. I just know when I play Headwood, again, similar to Magma Storm, my opponent takes awkward positions to sort of avoid that burn, to avoid that damage. So, and again, Headwood can almost guarantee 2 damage on the castle every turn. So if you run 3 of these guys, that's possibly a 6 damage total onto the castle without you having to be on the castle. So, very nice addition. From there, I have no 4 drops. We just move right into the 5 drops with Dino Rider. Dino Rider has a nifty charge, which I find to be somewhat very useful. And again, sort of the fact that he can go along with being buffed by baby dinos and Dino Nest. He has the potential to be scary. And again, that charge at that stat is harder to deal with, because at 3-7 you don't expect it to be on you that fast until it actually hits you. And if I'm hitting a mage, then I'm not getting retaliated, so now you're dealing with that 3-7 body without, me not taking any damage, or me not really wasting too many resources. Sometimes Dino Rider will be just used to immediately charge out and get rid of something fast, in my opinion. Again, it could take out another Magma Storm, it could take out a Mage Apprentice, a Sea Witch, things that you do not want to deal with. So that's why I include Dino Rider in here. And again, that Dino possibility of, working with the baby dinos and Dino Nest. So, and speaking of that, Dino Nest is a absolute must for the deck. If you compare this to Rally of the Town, which, somewhat has the same ability, Dino Nest is much better. You're getting 3 dinos that buff each other, so basically getting a 4-4, 3-3, and 2-2 body. Buffing anything else that might be on the field, that, there has to be at least one more dino on the field to activate this, whether that be a Magma Storm, a Dino Rider, or another baby dino. And when he comes out, sometimes your opponent is not ready to deal with all of those bodies coming to you at once. So, Dino Nest, I think, is a absolute must in the deck, and if you're not running Dino Nest, then you might be running this deck somewhat wrong. That sounds rude. Again, just run this 3 of, please. You'll see the results, I promise. From there, I move on to Zealous Knight. Zealous Knight is a interesting card for the deck. Sometimes I go offensively with him, sometimes forgetting that he doesn't have 7 health anymore, but his Holy Aura is definitely something to not mess around with. Of course, ever since that healing to the castles was in effect, I've been kind of trying to incorporate Zealous Knight into all of my Crusader decks, simply because the Zealous Knight's aura can cause, huge problems in terms of, let me just gain my health back real quick. Like, you took away 2, 3, 4 damage off my castle, I'll just get that right back with Zealous Knight. And now your opponent's back at square one. So, Zealous Knight, I think, run him now if you're running Crusaders, because his Holy Aura definitely going to come in handy. Moving on to Monk, I have him as my first 6-drop of the deck. Again, running this mainly for the heal aspect. That heal is pretty strong, and for a body at 6 gold for those stat lines, I'll take it. I sometimes find myself not using the Monk as much, but if I do, it's definitely get rid of something bigger that's already on my castle, or maybe that's already weakened. And again, if you have a Bulwark on the castle and your castle lost some health, Monk might heal that up to 13 or 14 again. So the healing is definitely a strong aspect, and is the reason why I run Monk in this deck. From there, I move on to Tyrannosaur. Tyrannosaur is the bigger body of the 2 6-drops that I have, and I included him simply because there's a lot of dinos working in this deck, so why not have one of the bigger dinos. As you can see in the match later on, Tyrannosaur definitely can be used to get rid of some bigger annoyances. And that Fear Aura, too, forces your enemies to take a second look into what they're going to do next, because they do not want that Fear Aura messing up their units. Sometimes they can use it against you, that's fine. But normally your opponent will get stuck, figuring out, alright, what's the Fear Aura going to do? How am I going to get past the Fear Aura? I need to get rid of this Tyrannosaur fast. So, basically the reason why I run 3 of. And again, those stat lines is not something to mess around with for 6 gold. From there, I move on to Arbiter's Return. I have this card solely for the fact that it is a strong healing aspect and can sometimes win you games if you're using it at the right moment. The heal is very strong at 8 and summons a judge. So the judge will do a total of possibly 6 damage to anything, whether that be castle, an opposing monster, whatever. I only run 2 though because I don't want this getting stuck in my hand. I think 2 is a good number to keep it at. And that kind of same 2-card rule applies for the next 2 cards, the first being Dino Evolution. I don't want this card being stuck in my hand, but I definitely find this card to be a tremendous help and a tremendous game changer for you and your opponent. Because when you summon a bunch of Tyrannosaurs out of nowhere, let me tell you, it's something to behold. Your opponent now has to deal with some buff Tyrannosaurs, possibly. If everything goes well from the Dino Nest, then an 11-11, a 9-9. Is that right? A 9-9? I think so. A 9-9, and I think a 10-10. I think. Yeah, I kind of went a little backwards there, but I think that's like the stat line you're getting when you use a Dinosaur Evolution on a Dino Nest without the Dino Nest being touched, and chances are it will, so you're not getting those stat lines completely. But again, a massive game changer, and sometimes can end games instantly on the spot. And finally, we have Drumoth in here. Drumoth is the big body that heals for an amazing 7. Again, I'm surprised if you're running a Crusader deck that you're not somehow incorporating Drumoth into your deck, because that heal, again, is amazing. It can pretty much come back instantly, so now you're back up to probably full health, and you've got a big body to boot. And that's why I run this card, in case I don't have an Arbiter's Return or something like that. I can always rely on Drumoth to A, bring up my castle back to full health, and B, take something out pretty much instantly. So, yeah, that's the basic structure of the deck. So, with that being said, I will take you guys into the match that I have on TV, where I fully demonstrate this match. So, I guess I'll take you right to that. right now. So here's the matches I was describing in a bit earlier. 21 turns, me versus USBC. He's running blue-yellow. I'm running the deck. So 21 turns, let's take a look. I start out pretty good with about 3 drops and the Dinosaur Nest. So those Magma Storms can easily transition to the Dino Nest. I can't do anything for 2 turns. He, on turn 2, brings out a Vicious Sunflower. I know that's going to get nasty. I respond with the Headwood, hoping to maybe draw his Sunflower back a bit, or maybe him stepping forward, taking the damage. So essentially I want to trade that Headwood into the Sunflower, but it's also going to force any minions, as you can see here with his books, to stay behind. So in response, I take out a Sunflower with Headwood, so that's our trade there. And I throw out the Magma Storm, hoping to get it buffed with Dinosaur Nest next turn, assuming that he can't take it out in any other direct damage way. He comes out with a Dragon Knight, so it looks like he isn't going to be taking me out. He groups his 2 guys together, however he doesn't know that I have the Dino Nest, so I'm going to play this, and you can see one of the main powers of this deck, that buffed Magma Storm is becoming now an immediate threat at 4-6, rather than a 1-3, plus 3 dinos to boot. It doesn't work too well. So he has to trade his Dragon Knight into the Baby Dino, into the Burning Sun to take out 1 dinosaur, however that's not really enough. Mage Apprentice steps forward now, looking to probably threaten a Baby Dino. I'm going to disintegrate that Mage Apprentice. I don't want to deal with the spell or the body. And I bring before them another Magma Storm because I can't bring out the Zealous Knight, which I wanted to do for the healing to Magma Storm and Baby Dino. He'll bring out a Dino Rider, so that cancels out with one of the Baby Dinos up there, and brings up another Sunflower. But you see he's positioning them far away because of the explosive. He doesn't want to trigger any explosion damage, so that gives me the opportunity to kill off his Sunflower right here so he doesn't advance forward and do some more damage with that. I move with the Zealous Knight and the Baby Dino for a heal to both of my units, and they're at full strength. This move surprised me. Metal of Bravery into Arcanon. Arcanon I wasn't expecting. Definitely had bit of trouble at first, but I realized that I had the Tyrannosaur in my hand, so that's really going to be a I'm going to have to make that trade right there. Yep, here it goes, and I'll just chomp on the Arcanon. So really that gets rid of the surprise. I still have another Magma Storm, I still have the Zealous, and I still have another Baby Dino, so all is still good. Turn 8, he brings out an Ogre Thief, so that's going to kill off my Zealous Knight. That's pretty fair of him. I was kind of stupid in moving him up that much forward instead of using him for a heal. However, I'll throw out the Monk, which I, again, wishing the heal, but that's not important for the Bulwark. That means both my Baby Dino, Magma, and Monk got an additional boost, as well as the Castle, which is now 14 rather than 12. So that's another important factor to this deck, the additional health aspect. RedMaster comes out, he draws Green Drake, which he'll use immediately, and Dremoth. And moves his Faithful Drake into defensive position. I'm going to counter that with a Magma Storm Explosion, so chip 2 on the castle, and finish off the Drake with a Dino Rider. Not going to use the Disintegrate, I'll instead throw a Dwarf Paladin for some extra bodies there, hoping that he can't really defend himself. He'll bring out a Yenaroth, which, alright, that's interesting. It kills off my Magma Storm. His RedMaster will target Dino Rider, but as you can see by my hand, it's pretty much over. I'm moving to Sudden Death now. His castle's at 7. I bring out the Dino Rider attack for 3. The Arbiter's return, hoping to hit maybe Castle. I hit RedMaster, but that's fine because of the Judge's attack to 3. And end the turn for that to be game as the sudden health ticks to 1. So, as you see, a very solid deck. I've been running this thing, again, pretty well. Nervous that it can grow in popularity. It's a definitely strong combo, one which I think is pretty exploitable as of now. And it's mainly been what I have been using to after reset. I was at 7:30 this morning. Now I'm up to 11:62, so that's not really bad. You really just haven't done much. The rank award's Baby Dino, so I guess you can get your copies of that if you haven't gotten Baby Dino already. Which I think if you want to run this deck, you definitely should do so. And yeah, if you guys like this video, please make sure to give it a like, share with your friends, and comment below what you thought of July 2017's 3K deck. If you haven't already used the code, make sure to do that. Use the promo code RedMaster to get you 5 free card packs. And if you are new to the channel, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. All you need to do to show your support to the channel is just click that subscribe button right on down there. Absolutely no cost to you whatsoever. So, With that being said, guys, until next time, stay gaming.